About every year, it feels like we have this same conversation. Now, just to be honest with you guys, this year, it seems as if though this year is different. Dak Prescott separates from the rest of the pack, basically. He stands alone in the NFC East. He do. Now, of course, we can go back and forth talking about Daniel Jones and his development, and he's going to become better and these sorts of things, as well as you can say, well, Ryan Fitzpatrick, when everything is right, when everything is going in the right direction, he will get your team there. And all he got to do is allow that defense to show up and show out. Now, we did a roundtable discussion between me, Lord Brunson, Bad Dog, from the Giants, and, of course, Louis T. Network for the Washington team. Now, I will say this. Let me break this down as far as the separation for the nation. Dak Prescott stands alone for the quarterback scenario. And we did like a ranking, and I was just chilling the whole entire video because Dak Prescott is on top. But before we go into details of everything, we can talk about the coaching staff. Coaches play a major role. Now, I have Mike McCarthy. If it's the standalone without the complete staff, I have Mike McCarthy at number 2. At number 1, I have Riverboat Ron over there in Washington land. I just think that he's a marvelous coach. He came in and established an identity year 1, and he didn't use excuses. He fought through cancer and still was able to get that team going. Now, the third coach out of that division, to me, this is just my thoughts, is the Giants coach. I forgot his name. I think it's Judge or something like that, whatever his name is. And then the last coach, of course, the Eagles coach. He's wet behind the ear. He's trying to figure things out. And that's just my pecking order. Now, things can change. Why, Law? Why things can change? How? How can things change? Well, Dan Quinn, when I hear his interview, or I heard his interview, he spoke with authority, convictions. He was assertive. So all of those things play a major role, and we have to sit back and wait and see how the players gravitate to his words and these sorts of things. So we all know this one thing, this one truth right here, that most of the times a lot of people marry the coaching with the quarterback. And I believe the combination of Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy, and although I believe it's more of a Kellen Moore situation opposed to Mike McCarthy, because I still haven't seen Mike McCarthy fingerprints on this offense. Last year was a mulligan, so now we got to look into this year and say to ourselves, okay, what you going to bring forth? What you going to showcase to us? What competitive edge you going to exemplify and exude? Because that should be a difference maker right there. The coaching, the philosophy, the scheme, that extra that you can get from your coaching staff, that extra push, that cockiness, And Jimmy used to do it way, way back in the days, right? He said, put that in the newspapers. Or he would ridicule and talk about such and such in the press conference. And some of the great coaches know how to do that. I think Bill Parcells was a mastermind of it. He would call one of the players she. May he rest in peace, right? But he would call the player she. And he actually named somebody the player, the entire year, the player. Never called that player by his name. So there are crafty ways where coaching can play a role. I recall some coaches like to pump up the locker room, give storylines and these sorts of things of when they played the game or situations when they was down in that low dial in the trenches, right? So there are multiple ways. And on the flip side, when I did the Q&A sessions on the phone, when we were having a conversation about Dak Prescott, several of you all called in and you guys was saying, okay, this would be the year, Law. And I said, okay. After every year, I say these are the things that I want Dak Prescott to do. I know after 2016 and 17 and 18, I was saying I want Dak Prescott to step up through his throw. I want him to go through his progressions faster. And every single thing that I wanted Dak Prescott to improve on, he improved on. So now we going into season Dak Prescott. I think he can step up through his throw. I think he can go through his progressions. I think he can hit a guy in stride. Now, I think he can throw the deep ball pretty well. Some of the things as far as those short drag routes across the middle, he may have to improve on that. So this year, 2021, what I want to see Dak Prescott do more is take total control. Audible out. I know he did some audibles before, but I want him to audible out of some of that crazy stuff that Kellen Moore is putting out there, right? Reverse sweeps on the red zone situation and throwing a ball to the short end of the field when it's crowded and congested. No. Audible out of some of that stuff. Take full control. And I want to see some chastisement. And I want to see some in the face of some of the players who make bonehead decisions, because we've seen some of the greatest of the greats quarterbacks ridiculed and not afraid to put their faces, into their teammate faces and say, hey, you got to get this right. We've seen it happen before. We've seen these type of things. Now, Roger Staubach was before my time, but I don't want to start talking about other quarterbacks from other divisions and other teams. But you guys get what I'm saying, right? That leadership role, I believe Dak Prescott, he separated himself from the other pack out of the NFC East. So now he got to step it up and be one of those quarterbacks that we can sit back and say, man, oh man, look at him leading not just the NFC East, but the NFL. Here's this article that was out, and this is where they were saying that pretty much in this article, I'll post a link somewhere in the description box, and basically they were saying that Dak Prescott, man, he got a leg up, and I'm just going to paraphrase on the majority of this stuff right here. He says the Dallas Cowboys have a leg up on the rest of the division. They have their franchise guy running the team already. That's some good stuff. And basically, when you break it down and you look at all of the quarterbacks, the Daniel Jones, the hurt kid over there, and as well as who's the other quarterback, Ryan Fitzpatrick, there are a lot of big question marks. There's none with Dallas Cowboys quarterback. Now, I know some people are going to look into this, majority of Cowboy fans, because everybody else, the Washington fans, saying, man, Dak Prescott pretty solid, man. Eagles fans, man, Dak Prescott, boy, he's solid. Hey, man, hey, Law, I was wrong with you on Carson. Right? So there are a lot of things where we can look at it, and of course, we can look at into the situation and say, all right, we got our franchise quarterback. We paid him his corn and everything. Now it's time for to see the results. And I believe Dak Prescott will exhibit and exude that. It just take a matter of time. So be sure to click onto that article and read up on his article right here from the fan side. And his Dallas Cowboys, Dak Prescott separates from the NFC East. And I believe that it will flat out happen. This year, you will see, if remaining healthy, Dak Prescott not just being a comeback player of the year, but he could be in the graces of MVP. And I know some people are going to say, man, just wait until you see him play the game. Well, faith, you can't see it, touch it, taste it, right? You just got to believe in it. That's the way that Dak Prescott operate. and facilitate. Post me your thoughts, post me your concerns down below. My name is Law Nation. Be sure to hit that like button, share this content. Let that friend, neighbor, foe know where to go when they want to tune in to Cowboys Sports Talk and beyond. I'm not saying that Dak Prescott will hit 6,000 yards. I don't want him to do that. I want Dak Prescott to be solid. I want him to take full control and command of this team. I want us to win on the ground, in the air, and wherever we need to. My realest thoughts on this would be Dak Prescott. This defense is still young, so I want Dak Prescott to really will this team until the defense get their mind right, and it may not be until week 5, week 6. I know we have a bye week, or I think around week 7, but right after the bye week, I want this Dallas Cowboys defense to gel together, and sometimes it takes that long. I would rather for this defense to get hot toward the latter part of the season opposed to being hot week 1, week 2. That's just how I look at it. I think that the quarterback and everything on the offense can be hot earlier. That's just how I look at it. Post me your thoughts, post me your concerns down below. That's been my time. I really thank you all for yours. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. Go Cowboys. Let's go.